Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about the 85mm 1.8 FE Sony lens. This video is for people who are thinking about getting the 85mm 1.4 but just don't know if they're ready to spend that kind of money on a lens like that, especially a lens you probably won't use that often. There's no reason to buy the 85mm G Master 1.4 when this thing does pretty much everything it's gonna do, and it's smaller. And it works. No one's shooting at 1.4. I mean, come on, really. 2.8 is where you're gonna be at this lens most of the time if you wanna get everything in focus. So even on the G Master 1.4, you're not gonna shoot at 1.4. You're gonna be shooting at like an f1.8 or an f2.8 anyways. You're never gonna have good focus. Everything's gonna be out of focus in 1.4 unless you're super far away. They're both focus by wire systems, which I don't like. So if you're trying to manual focus, you're gonna overshoot your focus marks every time. I mean, focus by wire, that's just a problem, you know, for the manual focus anyways. But if you're using autofocus, this is a great lens. Manual focus, not so good. So this lens comes in at about 600 bucks new, about 500, 550 used on Amazon. It's literally less than a third of the cost of the G Master lens. I got this lens for $530 on Amazon used. That was a year and a half ago. And it still goes for that much used. So I know that after a year and a half, I can still sell this for $400 to $500 and I'm not gonna lose really any money on it. If you're thinking about buying the 85mm G Master, the $1,500 1.4 f1.4 lens, then this is a budget option that's gonna be just as good, if not better in my opinion. The bokeh on this thing is really good. I was really surprised, and the lens is super sharp for the price. The fact of the matter is, this lens is small. The G Master lens being a much bigger lens, a much heavier lens, I'm not gonna carry it around with me as much. This is something I just throw in my bag, any bag, and I live with my zoom on my A7S. If I ever wanna go and get a longer shot, I'll use this on this camera at 85mm. If I want a longer focal length than that, I will crop into Apsc mode on this, and I will use this like a 135, and I have had great results. So this is a full frame lens. So on the A7S, this is 85mm on the full frame camera. But if you put this on your Apsc camera, your A6400, your A6600, it's gonna be more like a 135mm lens. So if you're carrying around like a Sigma 16mm, and you're also carrying around like a 50mm, this might be the next thing you wanna buy just so you have that long focal length. It's gonna be 135mm on that camera. And if you're a videographer, you know, odds are you're probably not gonna have the 85mm on your camera that often unless you're shooting stuff that's really far away. If you're doing run and gun stuff, you're probably gonna want a zoom lens, but this is not a bad thing to have in your bag. And because it's so small, you can just toss it in there and not worry about it. You can put this in your pocket really if you need to. I think the minimum focusing distance on the G Master f1.4 is a little shorter than this. You need to be at least 2.5 feet away from the subject to get focused with this lens. This lens does come with a lens hood, but it's ugly, it's round, I just lost it right away. There's also an assignable button right here that you can set up in your camera if it's compatible and use that like any other button. And you can switch your manual to autofocus here. This lens isn't weather sealed, so if you're working around dust or anything like that, it's gonna get through the lens. It's gonna get on the sensor. These mirrorless cameras, man, they just suck dust onto the sensor. I think all lenses should just have the weather sealing, but they just don't put it on these cheaper lenses so they can charge more for the pro lenses. And part of them being pro is that they don't break when they get rained on. And I mean, look at that glass. It looks so nice. For $500 to $600, this is a great option. Guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope it brought value to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.